You just got a gold envelope slipped under your door. No return address, no name, just 3 words on the inside. You've been selected. Now pause. Before your brain starts sprinting, before you even Google what this means, your first instinct, your very first thought, isn't fear. It isn't confusion. It's, finally. That's the uncomfortable part nobody wants to admit, because most of us secretly believe we were supposed to be in the room where things actually happen. That somehow the wrong people got the invitations and ours just got lost in the mail. And here's the contradiction that nobody talks about. The same people who post, "The Illuminati is evil," at 2 a.m. are the exact same people who would show up if that gold envelope arrived. Not maybe, definitely. All of us, including you, including me. Don't lie. So, what actually happens when you say yes? For real, bro, here, where we say what no one else will. And before you think this is just a conspiracy theory video, the thing you're about to find out has nothing to do with the Illuminati, and everything to do with you. Stay there. Part 1. The gold envelope that almost got you killed with excitement. You open the envelope. Your hands are doing that embarrassing, shaky thing that happens when something too big arrives and your body doesn't know whether to celebrate or bolt. Inside, a time, an address, a warning. Tell no one. Cool, normal, fine. You put the envelope down. You immediately pick up your phone to text your best friend. You put your phone back down. You pick it up again. You put it back down. You do this 4 more times. You tell nobody, but your entire face tells everybody. Your coworker asks if you're okay. You say, "Yeah, great, totally normal day," in the voice of a man who is clearly dying inside from information. This is already going wrong and you haven't even left your house. But here's what's actually interesting. You didn't question whether it was real. You didn't think, this is probably a prank. You just believed, instantly. Because the human brain is wired to treat mystery as truth when mystery is exciting enough. Which means you already handed over your rational mind at step 1, and the thing hasn't even started yet. So you show up at the address. It's not a pyramid, it's not a mountain lair, it's not even a sketchy warehouse, it's a completely normal building, like suspiciously normal. The kind that has a dentist on the 2nd floor and a mediocre sandwich shop on the 1st. That's the first twist nobody in any conspiracy video prepares you for. The most powerful organizations in the world operate out of places that look like places where you'd dispute a parking ticket. You go inside, and that's when things become much bigger than you expected. Part 2. You wanted power. They gave you a non-disclosure agreement. You're escorted into a room. There are people there, serious people in expensive clothes who have the specific posture of individuals who have never had to ask where the bathroom is at a party. They already knew. And the first thing they hand you isn't a secret decoder ring. It's a stack of paperwork, 37 pages, single-spaced, in a font so small it was designed specifically to punish you for reading it. This is the moment your fantasy begins its slow, dignified collapse. You sign it, obviously you sign it, because you didn't come this far to turn around. And somewhere on page 14, buried between clauses about information management and reputational continuity, you realize you just legally agreed to forget things on purpose, as a lifestyle. But here's the part that actually gets you. The benefits are real, and they are spectacular. Private transportation that makes business class feel like a bus. Dinner at a restaurant that doesn't have a menu, because if you need to ask, you're the menu. Phone numbers for people who can make things happen. Actual things, real things, with a single text. No hold music, no callback window, no, your estimated wait time is 17 years. Things just resolve. For about 4 hours, you feel it. That clean, effortless feeling of existing at the center of things rather than the outside. Like your whole life until now was happening slightly off to the left, and now you've been gently moved to where the real action is. And then, quietly, you notice the first problem. You can't talk about any of it. Not the dinner, not the phone numbers, not the feeling. You have 37 pages that prevent you from being interesting at a single dinner party for the rest of your natural life. And the thing that was supposed to make you important has made you the most boring person you know. And you've been in for 6 hours. Part 3. The meeting where you realized you are not the main character. Hour 8. There's a meeting. You walk in expecting a round table, probably some candlelight, maybe a globe someone's spinning ominously. What you get is a conference room with a projector that takes 4 minutes to connect to the laptop, and someone has brought a fruit platter with the sad plastic wrap still half on it. These are the people who allegedly run the world, and they are having the exact same meeting every mid-level company has. Someone talks too long, someone checks their phone, someone uses the phrase, circle back. You realize something horrifying. Power doesn't look like power from the inside. From the inside, power looks like a very boring Thursday. And here's the twist that completely breaks you. You're not important in this room. Not even a little. You're a guest, a temporary observer, a +1 who doesn't know the inside jokes. While everyone else speaks in shorthand that you're not cleared for, you sit there nodding like you understand things, which is, and I cannot stress this enough, exactly what you do in every work meeting you've ever attended in your entire life. Nothing has changed. You've joined the most powerful organization in human history, and you are still the person nodding along while trying to look competent. The psychological trap is this. You wanted access to make yourself feel more real, more important, more like your life actually matters at scale. But access doesn't do that. Access just shows you that everyone, at every level, is also figuring it out. They're just figuring it out in nicer shoes. You are now trapped inside something you thought you wanted, and you still have 16 hours left. Part 4. The moment you tried to quit and couldn't because you ate the food. This is where it gets psychologically ugly. Around hour 14, something shifts. The novelty wears off in the specific way that all novelty wears off. Not with a dramatic crash, but with a slow, deflating realization that you've been performing excitement for hours because you were afraid to admit the thing you actually feel, which is ordinary. The greatest secret of the Illuminati, if such a thing existed, would not be about controlling the world. It would be that the world is controlled by people who feel exactly as uncertain, exactly as exhausted, and exactly as desperate for validation as everybody else, just with significantly better catering. And here's the self-sabotage part. The genuinely hilarious, tragic, completely human part. You had a thought around hour 12, a small, rebellious thought, that maybe you should try to leave. Just walk out. You're only here for 24 hours anyway. Why not bail early? But you didn't. Because somewhere around hour 9, they gave you a coat. A really good coat. One of those coats that feels like being hugged by a decision that cost $4,000. And leaving now would mean returning the coat. And you are not returning the coat, so you stayed. Not because of power, not because of secrets, because of a coat. This is the biggest contradiction of the whole experience. You thought you were going to resist the pull of power and privilege if it turned out to be what you feared. But you couldn't even resist outerwear. The uncomfortable realization, you are not as principled as you thought. None of us are. We all have a coat. It's just usually smaller and less dramatic. Sometimes it's a job title. Sometimes it's a neighborhood. Sometimes it's a relationship that stopped working, but the apartment is too nice to leave. There is one final truth nobody saw coming. Part 5. The gold envelope was always about you, never about them. Hour 24, you're back home. The coat is hanging on your door. You kept it, obviously. And here's the theory reveal. The one this whole thing was building toward. You didn't join the Illuminati for 24 hours to learn about them. You joined to find out what you would do when there were no consequences, when the rules suspended, when the normal friction of your life, the commute, the budget, the be realistic, temporarily disappeared. And what did you do? You nodded in meetings you didn't understand. You ate food you couldn't describe to anyone. You kept a coat because leaving felt awkward. You stayed in a situation past the point you wanted to because you'd already committed and backing out felt embarrassing. You behaved exactly like yourself. That's the thing about imagining a version of your life with extraordinary access. Most people assume they would become extraordinary. But access doesn't change character. It reveals it, rapidly and without mercy. The Illuminati, real, imagined, metaphorical, whatever you want to call it, isn't interesting because it has power. It's interesting because we invented it. We invented a secret club that decides everything because it is deeply, desperately comforting to believe that someone, somewhere, is in charge. That there's a room where things make sense. That the chaos we experience daily is actually organized chaos, managed by competent hands. Because the alternative, that nobody's fully in control, that the world is mostly improvised, that the fruit platter at the meeting of the century has sad plastic wrap on it, is just too much to sit with before coffee. We need the Illuminati to exist so we don't have to be responsible for the mess. And if you got that gold envelope and your first thought was finally, that tells you everything. Not about them. About what you've been waiting for someone else to fix. Damn, that changes everything. Drop in the comments. What's your coat? The thing you stayed for way too long because it was too nice to leave. The job, the situation, the relationship, the group chat you can't exit because somehow that's more terrifying than anything else. Tell me below. Anonymously, if you need to. We won't judge. We all have a coat. And if you somehow watch this whole thing and still think you'd be different, that you would have walked out early with your morals intact, you beautiful liar, you're exactly who this channel exists for. Subscribe. Or don't. The Illuminati probably already knows either way,